I have removed the front wheel, and now I'm ready to start changing out the rubber boots on the anti-dive systems. These inside boots I could not even see until I removed the front wheel. They're in pretty bad shape. I'm now going to remove the old rubber boot. This is fairly simple. It's held in place by this metal snap ring here, so you just get in with a pick and you can pop it out. That's all that holds it. And you can see there wasn't much left of that one. There's one on the back side. I'll do that as well. That's it for the rubber boot. I've got the replacement rubber boot here. That's what it should look like. And I also ordered new snap rings because I didn't know if the old ones would be in good condition or not. The old ones are reusable, but I will go ahead and use the new ones because they have one advantage. The new one has these holes to fit a set of snap ring pliers, so that will make the installation easier. The first step is to fit the rubber boot into the snap ring. The snap ring should fit into this groove in the boot here. Sorry if I went off camera there. Alright, that one is ready to go in place. The service manual says that this piston assembly needs to be lubricated with automatic transmission fluid. So I've got a little bit in here, which I actually just pulled off the dipstick of my car, because that was easier than going out to buy a quart. And I'm just going to put some on the pick and work it in there, trying to get it in the contact point in front, which is the main spot that needs it. The last thing I'm going to do before I install the new boots is to make sure the piston moves. It takes quite a bit of force, but I can feel the piston compressing. I've got the inside boot installed, so now it's time to do the outside one. And this is not too complicated. Just push it into place. Slip the center opening over the lip on this post. Then squeeze the needle, squeeze the, what kind of pliers are these? The snap ring pliers to compress the snap ring. Now use something like a screwdriver, or just about anything, to make sure the upper edge of the snap ring's in place. Release the pliers, and that's that. I like to go around it, just push on the snap ring a little bit. Make sure that it is fully in place, and it's actually sitting a little high right there, so that's got to be changed. Now it's in. Done. Now I'm going to do one of the inner boots. I'm showing you this because it's a lot harder than the outside ones, mainly because you're working in a tight space and this end of the shaft has got a larger flare on it. But you start off the same way by slipping the rubber boot into place, but then you've got to get it over that large flare. You've got to be careful here that you don't tear it. Start by hooking one side of it underneath, and a lot like you were mounting a tire, just work your way around. Again, very careful not to tear the boot. They're not expensive, but it does take a week to get a new one, so I'd like to keep this intact if I can. And it's almost in place. that's got it. It's now behind the lip. So now the snap ring pliers go on. And with the screwdriver, push the upper end, the side of the snap ring opposite of the pliers into place. Now it's sort of in place, not completely. This one, unlike the outer one, is a lot more fiddly and a little tougher to get in. If you have to remove the forks to do other work, you may find that it's a lot easier to do this with the forks on a bench. I don't feel like pulling the forks off this thing, so I'm just going to struggle a little bit. I've put the wheel back on the bike. The next step is to reinstall these pivoting brake caliper mounts. Now this pin's ready to go back in. Slips in like so. The last thing on the to-do list is torquing the bolts. So, start with this one, which gets 25 to 33 foot-pounds. And then these two bolts both get 14 to 18 foot-pounds. Finally, the axle bolts, which get 13 to 18 foot-pounds. And for that one, you do the front first, and the other side. Then the rear. And that's it, we're all torqued down. Done with that. The last task is to re-bleed the brakes, and then I'll take a test drive. So we got a new clutch off of Craigslist. We put that in, and here's the old clutch out, and we noticed something we hadn't seen before. Look at that broken spring. That's why it rattled so badly. They weren't just worn out, one was actually busted. We got a new clutch for 50 bucks on Craigslist, and it sounds beautiful now. No more rattle. The end.